A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a landmark decision on Tuesday, the Supreme Court has granted President Donald Trump a temporary go-ahead to implement his controversial plans aimed at reducing the federal workforce and reorganizing multiple government agencies. This decision follows an administrative hold on the case, requested by the Trump administration, which has been embroiled in legal battles over the legality of these cuts. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was the sole dissenter in this ruling, highlighting the deep divisions within the court regarding the balance of power between the executive branch and Congress. The crux of the case revolves around a ruling made by U.S. District Judge Susan Ilston of California, who stated back in May that while the president has the authority to propose changes, significant alterations must not blatantly disregard the mandates set forth by Congress. Judge Ilston emphasized, agencies may not conduct large-scale reorganizations and reductions in force in blatant disregard of Congress's mandates, and a president may not initiate large-scale executive branch reorganization without partnering with Congress. In a significant turn of events, the Supreme Court's signed order clarified that their ruling does not address the legality of any specific agency's reduction in force or reorganization plan. Instead, it focuses on the legality of Trump's executive order and the accompanying administration memo that directs federal agencies to prepare for large-scale workforce reductions. The court's decision allows the Trump administration to move forward with these reductions at various federal agencies, despite ongoing challenges from a coalition of unions representing government workers, as well as several U.S. cities and counties. The High Court's ruling is likely to set the stage for further legal scrutiny, as it explicitly leaves open the possibility for future challenges regarding the individual agency cutbacks. The justices indicated that the administration appears to have a strong legal footing for its arguments supporting the executive order, yet they refrained from making any determinations about the legality of the actual agency plans. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, in her dissent, expressed grave concerns about the implications of this ruling, stating, "Today's decision has dealt a serious blow to our democracy and put services that the American people rely on in grave jeopardy." Jackson further criticized the court's timing, arguing that it is premature to allow such sweeping changes without a thorough examination of their potential consequences. This case is about whether that action amounts to a structural overhaul that usurps Congress's policy-making prerogatives, she wrote. It is hard to imagine deciding that question meaningfully after those changes have happened. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, while concurring with the majority ruling, echoed Jackson's sentiments regarding the constitutional constraints on the president's ability to restructure federal agencies without congressional approval. Sotomayor noted, "The plans themselves are not before this court at this stage, and we thus have no occasion to consider whether they can and will be carried out consistent with the constraints of law." Trump's executive order, issued in February, directed federal agencies to promptly undertake preparations to initiate large-scale reduction in force, RFs, consistent with applicable law. U.S. Solicitor General D. John Sauer, representing the Trump administration, argued that the executive order is grounded in long-standing legal precedents allowing the executive branch to carry out workforce reductions as necessary. However, Judge Ilston's earlier ruling emphasized the need for congressional oversight in such significant changes, citing that previous presidents have sought and obtained congressional authority for similar restructuring efforts. As the Supreme Court's decision unfolds, the implications for federal employees and government operations remain uncertain. The coalition challenging the layoffs has warned that the RFs could lead to hundreds of thousands of federal employees losing their jobs, significantly impacting essential services that the public relies on. The political landscape surrounding this issue is charged, with opponents of the cuts arguing that they represent an unprecedented overreach of executive power. As the legal battles continue, the future of the federal workforce and the balance of power between the executive and legislative branches will be closely watched by both supporters and critics of the Trump administration's initiatives. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.